Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the Gamerpreneur podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Bradford Carlton. Today, we are talking about using the correct tool for the job. So sometimes when you're a hammer, you think that everything's a nail, but also sometimes you need a screwdriver and it doesn't work so well unless you have like a claw on the back. And like this the metaphor went way off the rails. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is when you have a job to do, when you have a business to run, it may be that you're not the right person for it. It may be that everybody in your company is not the right person for the job that you have to get done. It may be you need to go outside of your organization, outside of yourself in order to be able to find the thing that you need or the person that you need in order to do the thing that needs accomplished. And I bring this topic up because like a good number of my topics, I've had a phone call. Actually, it was just before I hit record. I'm like, oh, this would be a good topic. And I was on a call with a service that I don't want to drop names or anything like that, but they will save game developers money. Like that's what they do. They save game developers money. I'm like, oh, how do you do that? And so you got Steam, and then you've got this service, and so this service allows you to like cut out Steam's 30% cut of the game. I'm like, why is not everybody using that? Like that's blowing my mind. Why is this not a bigger thing? And they're like, well, we're trying to make it so. So the point being, I love working in the game space because so many people have absolutely no idea what they're doing. They just don't have a clue what they're doing. And if they just took a little bit of time to do the research, if they just spent some time thinking this through and maybe looking at other businesses and how other businesses operate, they might be able to find a path that, makes it more efficient, makes it more cost effective, makes it, just bigger, better, right? And so I wanted to talk about this because, this tool just blew my mind. Like the service blew my mind. It's not a tool. Because these developers I work with, they're so focused on like selling on this one platform. It's Steam. I'll name drop that one. Like they're so focused on selling on Steam, like this where most of game sales happen or PC game sales happen. Like you got to do it. I'm like, okay, well, cool, but I mean, can't you still advertise over to your website and like do all kinds of marketing? And they're like, that's not how it works. Steam takes money. I'm like, really? Like, oh, yeah. If you try to sell on your website, like this is what somebody told me. Okay. So if you sell on your website and then you give them a Steam key, then you violate Steam's terms of service. I'm like, really? I didn't know that. So I get on a call with this service and they're like, yeah, so what we do is we help you set up your website and you'll be able to sell through your website and you don't have to pay Steam's fee, just our fee. I'm like, wait a second. Because I was just told this completely other thing by a game developer who I would expect to know this since it's their business. But guess not, right? And they're like, no, that's not how it works. Steam is totally cool with you giving away Steam keys so long as you're sending people to Steam. And I'm like, gee, gosh darn willikers, people. Like, how hard was that to look into? Like, obviously, I have no good reason to have to look into how much Steam takes when you sell your game on Steam, right? Or whether you can sell it on your website. Like, I have no great reason to not believe a game developer who actually has a pretty respectable history in the game development world on this particular point. Like, how does that happen? And I think it's just people don't spend the time learning their business. Okay. It was Robert Kiyosaki and Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You mind your business. Too many people are focused on, I like using the example of the sandwich shop. They're focused on making the sandwich and not on running the sandwich shop. And so like, shoot, Steam takes 30%. This other company takes 5%. Okay. Now assume you sell everything on one platform or the other. That's a difference of 25% of your sales. And that's freaking huge. You could spend that 25% on all the advertising and you actually make more money. You'd make quite a lot more money because you have to spend the money on advertising on Steam anyway, right? Like 25% cut difference. And they thought this is the only way to do this. This is the only way we can do it is to sell it on Steam. And so I guess this episode is more about griping than anything because If you don't understand what tools are out there, then you're not able to know how to use them, right? You don't know what you don't know. If your entire world is about hammers and you come across a screw, you're probably going to try to hit it in there, right? But what if you come across like a bracket? I mean, you could try to hammer it in there, but it might not work so well, depending on how hard you hit it. But what's another example? Maybe like a washer. You can hammer the washer in, but the washer won't do anything if it's just hammered into something, right? It's got to like sit there and it's got to create that gap. But the hammer is not the right tool. You need the wrench or the screwdriver to like latch things down. So that may not be a great example either. Hopefully you understand what I'm talking about. The point is, if you have a business of some type, take a step back, figure out what tools are out there that might do what you currently already do. Because we live in a wonderful capitalistic society where there are people who have ideas every single day. And those people with ideas go, someone would probably pay me if I came up with this idea for reals. And then they go find someone who has money or they have money themselves. And they go and find people to make it. And they put this thing together and then they put it out for sale. And it's this very concrete, distinct, single thing that only does one thing most of the time. All right. And if you are out there and you're like, man, I really could use like this one particular thing, or I do this one particular thing and all these other things, but I really wish I could take time off or take this out of my schedule. Just remove that from my list of tasks every single day. Look that thing up. It may already exist. There may be a service out there that'll do it for, it costs a little bit of money, but it's less money than you are worth. Your time is worth money. Right? As a business owner, you have to understand that it's not an hour per dollar kind of thing anymore, right? Entrepreneurs do not trade hours for dollars. They multiply their hours into dollars. And it's a totally different calculation. If you are sitting there and you do even a rough calculation, maybe you're worth $40, $50 an hour using the old system, right? And you math it out, it takes you this many hours to do it. Compare the end cost, time times money equals the rough cost, right? And you compare that to the service. And if it actually costs less, the value is more, right? Like it's totally worth it because they're going to be competent at that thing that you're not necessarily competent at. It may not be your thing, right? Like I teach sales and marketing, but I am not the best marketing person. I have a person that has done way more dollars in marketing services. They use the ad platforms way more than I do. All right. When it comes to actually selling people like on a phone, I'm not the guy. I am not the guy. I can train a team on how to do it, but I much rather prefer someone who's more charismatic, who's got kind of that swagger in themselves. Like I've studied it, I've seen it in practice, I've worked with people, I've done it myself. Trust, I've sold $25,000 products. Okay. Many $5,000 products, $10,000 products. It's not my cup of tea. I don't enjoy it. Some people love it. So I want to find someone who loves this thing and is totally on board with making it happen. Same with you. It may be that you and your team are just not the right fit. And there's no harm in admitting that. Figure that out early, because the sooner you can figure that out, the sooner you can go find someone else who is a better fit. And maybe you can give them a percentage of the company or a percentage of sales, or you hire them an hourly commission, who knows, right? The point is, you have to have the right tool for the right job. And if you don't have it, go look for it, because most likely it already exists. And there's a good chance it'll save you a lot. 25%. Like that difference is freaking huge. Over the course of, say 500,000 sales. Say they're planning on putting money into marketing. 500,000 sales times just say $10. That's $5 million. Okay, if you take 25% of that, that's $1.25 million. That's a lot of money. That difference is phenomenal. And this one client of mine could have, like the developer friend of mine, could be losing 1.25 million, using that rough number, right? if I hadn't just gotten on a call with a random company and found out what their services were. I didn't know what they did. I asked, hey, can you guys tell me about what you do? I might be interested in like referring people to you. Sure thing. Yeah, we'll tell you what we do. And that's how I found out. And now I'm like, people, you need to get in touch. I sent like 3 emails right after that phone call before I hit record, like, because like it's just so big, right? Like you guys need to be looking at this stuff. So that is what I got for you all today. I'm going to remind you all, organization is the enemy of sloth. Take a step back, write out, just take a piece of paper and write out all of the different tasks, all the different responsibilities, all the different things that your business has to do and is currently doing. And then go research and see if you can outsource it to somebody else for less money and maybe make it faster, make it more efficient, because that's the beauty of this capitalistic world that we live in. All right. It doesn't even have to be, in the country that you live in. It can be anywhere on the planet. I've had great work out of Pakistan. I've had amazing people do amazing work for me out of Pakistan. I've had amazing people out of the Philippines. Right. And you could be all nationalistic. My country first. I'm here in America, right? America first, right? The people who have the biggest companies, they don't care about that. They don't. And the reason is because they understand capitalism. They understand how it works. They understand that if I go and hire those people over there across the planet to do this less expensive job, right? They'll do fantastic work because they're not necessarily less qualified. They're going to do fantastic work, and that's going to make me more money. That then allows me to expand my business here. I can then expand my business. I'm going to have a bigger home office. I'm going to have more salespeople. I'm going to have whatever else. Now I'm hiring more people here. Okay. If you are so short-sighted in the way capitalism works that I'm not willing to even consider anybody who's not an American or wherever, then you're going to have a tough time in the future as an entrepreneur, because you're not going to be willing to make the kinds of decisions you need to make for your business. You're allowing your ego to get in the way. You're allowing your nationalistic pride to get in the way when it's completely irrelevant. It was number 2 in Austin Powers that said there is no world anymore, only corporations. And it's pretty true. All right. So that's the key advice out of this episode I'm going to give you. Stop thinking so small-minded. Think about the world. All right, everybody. Don't be just a gamer. Be a gamerpreneur.